Welcome to Life Design Diaries, the show that gives you permission to live your best life. On this episode, we're going to answer one of the questions submitted into our website. They're totally anonymous, so if you want to head over to lifedesigndiaries.com/question, you can drop us anything you like, be as daring as you wish. So we're going to answer this. When is the right time to start thinking about family, and where do you guys envisage starting a family because you're currently travelling? So this is quite an interesting one as we both eyeball each other.
Yeah, when is the right time, Elise?
So we're both 28. In 2 days' time, it's our first wedding anniversary, and we will have been together for 12 years. So whoever has sent this in is probably thinking, come on, when are you having the kids? And the real answer is we don't really know. We always envisaged having quite a large family, but we're knocking on a bit. So the older we get, the less kids I think we'll end up having.
Are we knocking on a bit? Is that?
Well, if you want to, if you're thinking about having four, so quite a few kids.
Yeah.
It takes quite a long time to have them. You got to bake them for 9 months, and then okay. When is the right time to start thinking? I definitely think we've got a couple of years in us yet until we start thinking about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I definitely feel like my body is wanting to do it, but my head is saying, just steady on now. And where do you think? I definitely
let's start on the first part first.
Well, when?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a couple of years before properly thinking about it. But I think it's a compromise, isn't it? Because there's loads of people that we know that have already had kids, and it seems like I'm talking from massive inexperience, obviously, because I haven't had a kid, but it seems like...
Actually, the other day Ross said to me, I've only just realised that some babies face in and some babies face out of their pushchairs. This is the experience level we're on with Ross.
Guys don't look at prams, and well, maybe they do if they've had a kid.
Oh God!
But what I was going to say is, it seems like having a kid is the number one best thing you can do in the world. Mm-hmm. Like that is, most people, even if they don't think that, then they have one and then they say it is. So,
yeah.
Fundamentally it's like the best, most proud thing you can do in your life. Of course. I say of course. That's what I hear. So,
do you not think it will be then?
I don't know. I've never done one.
You've never done one.
I've never made one. I don't know, but the argument would be, if that's the case, what are we waiting for?
I don't know, Ross. What are we waiting for?
Well, we're not having one yet. So, but that's the thing, because at the moment, and we've talked in previous podcasts about pressures and, goals and vision and what we want to do in life. Well, funnily enough, the family thing isn't present in my mind yet, because we kind of in our heads say it's 2 years away. But that may be the biggest thing in life. Mm-hmm. And if I look at my parents, and I've got fantastic parents, so it's like just seeing and knowing the joy that their 4 kids bring to them. It's massive. It's huge. I know it is. It will be. But a lot of people, it's basically the compromise of whether you want to enjoy your freedom before or after the children, isn't it? That's where I think most people have the debate.
Yeah,
that's what I think the real debate is.
I see having a child and how it impacts your life is entirely up to you. And I know that is incredibly naive for those people out there saying, who the hell are you to say that? I'm the eldest of 5 and the youngest of 7. So, I've been around quite a lot of babies. And I see some people, that the baby comes along and it absolutely takes over everything, that the baby is the number one thing in the life, and it becomes more important than the husband or wife to the husband or wife. And then I see some other people that, actually manage to strike the balance really well, and the baby comes into their life and it's an addition and the baby fits into the life, not you become the baby's life, if that makes sense. So I definitely think that, Ross, maybe you're thinking around having a kid is the kid comes along and boom, everything is mad. And I'm sure it is for an extent, but, you know, we spend a lot of time talking in this podcast around making things the way you want them to be. And I really do think that you can have both, you know, you can still have your life and your freedom with a cute babbling baby along for the ride as well. So
yeah, no, I don't mean you completely sacrifice all freedom, or maybe you do. But what I mean is, a lot of people at our age that are debating this, I imagine they're thinking, do we have kids now? And then they'll all move out, you know, it'll be an amazing time. Then we move out and then we can travel the world when we're older. Or do we do everything we want to do now and then have kids? But the challenge with that is the kind of maternal facts that sit around that.
For me, I mean, we're incredibly lucky that we take for granted that it should be something that we can do. I mean, what happens if, you know, so many people struggle to conceive? So it's all, for me, I do feel like it's a lot more of a pressure for me as a woman. And then on the other hand, I think there are too many children in this world. Like, we're so overpopulated. Sometimes I feel like I really, really am ready. And then other times I think, hell no, usually when I'm hungover. You know, I don't know. It's an interesting one. It kind of plays into my mind every now and again, and we joke about it, but it's not really a massive consideration. I just think we'll know when the time is right and we'll see if it happens. I think that's really how we feel.
Right. Yeah, I think that's right.
That's nice.
When the time's right.
When the time is right.
Always a mistake. Okay, review time. And this week's 5-star review comes from C. MacD. It's titled Love This Podcast. And it says, I really love this podcast. Such an interesting and honest insight into married travel life from two great people. So thank you so much, C. MacD, for taking the time to actually leave that review. And if anyone else could please leave their review on iTunes, it really, really helps us grow in the search results so we can share our message with more people. So head over to iTunes now and leave your review. Where then?
Where? Okay, so in my mind's eye, I see, like, in 5 years' time, I'm living in a house, you know, like a humble house in the country somewhere. I don't know what country that is. It might be in the UK. It might be closer to home. I don't know. I just have this vision of this lovely house and some children. I have a very close relationship with my nan, and I can't imagine not having that with my children and my mum, and I see how much joy your nieces bring your parents. So the thought of not being, you know, within close proximity of our hometowns where both of our families live kind of irks me a little bit. And I do think that the longer that we're away from the UK and Europe, the more we just realise we have it all. We really, really, really have it all. So I do feel that we will probably gravitate back towards the West Country.
What do you mean by we have it all?
We have schools, healthcare, roads.
And who's we?
The Westerners.
Okay.
Particularly, you know, in the UK, I think we've seen and been living in some places that are just so difficult. And actually at home, you completely forget around how easy life is until you take yourself out of it. So I think definitely probably 90% of me feels like we would have a base close to home and potentially somewhere else, like maybe invest in a property in Italy or Spain or something like that, so that we could split our time, or I don't know, something like that, because, you know, we do like the sunshine, and that is not what the UK has. But yeah, I do think that the family, being close to your family is important, and really, really important when you think about how short and precious like time is with them. So
yeah, I do agree. Interestingly, I interviewed someone a few weeks back, I think, by the time this airs, and a woman that went traveling with her 18-month-old son. And I always kind of thought that if we're talking about the can you travel and have kids debate, I kind of just thought that when you have kids, that's the end of your travel time.
That's the end of your life.
End of your life. No, end of your travel time. As in moving around travel rather than just like relocating to another country. But interestingly, she kind of had a different opinion in that, you know, if your child goes to school at what age?
5.
5. Well, then actually up until 5, you know, there's no kind of massive settling into one location that they would necessarily need, because you're like their entire life as opposed to social interaction with other children. So it kind of gives you 5 years potentially. I mean, that is, I imagine, very, very difficult, but doable to travel around with a little toddler. And so that kind of just changed my perspective a little bit. I don't know whether we'll want to do that or not, but just the fact that is also, you know, there is no kind of set rules here, is there? You know, you can kind of make your own path, and I bet there's pretty much every single scenario that people have done with different things in terms of travel and stuff. But the fact that you could have a kids and travel for 5 years is, I just think that's quite interesting, as opposed to sort of you have children and then that's that. You know, the options there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think flexibility. But I think the family aspect kind of massively grows in the hierarchy of priorities, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And becomes very, very important.
Yeah, definitely.
In terms of like extended family, well, not extended family, but you know, grandparents, etc. So where do you think we'll stay then? England?
Yeah, I do. But I do think that we would potentially have a half and half, you know, some time in abroad and some time at home. Stay tuned.
Who knows? Basically, that's our thoughts, but really, really unsure on the whole topic, you know, but I think quite okay with that, you know, is a good takeaway. Because
I think more people are more concerned about it than we are.
Yeah, definitely. But I quite like the uncertainty of that, and just, you said when the time's right in terms of where and when and everything. But I think that's good.
Yeah,
you know,
where,
to
when,
not really.
And if I do also have a very, you know,
I think there will be
pragmatic view about it. Yeah, I know, but you know, some people just can't have them. So.
But then you can adopt.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, we're unsure of the kind of exact details, but I think in general that's okay.